Hey everybody. So today we're going to go over Emma Stone's chart. I just watched a movie with her in it last night. It's called The Favorite. It was a very interesting film. Definitely highly recommend. It kind of had me curious about her human design, and immediately once I open it up and I start looking at it, I'm fascinated. There are a couple different things, or a few different things that are happening in here that are really interesting to me. Really unique design here, as is everybody's, but some of the things here I just haven't seen before. So stay tuned for this video, and we're going to dive into Emma Stone's chart. If you like learning about human design, and you like learning about how people's charts read and how this translates to their mannerisms and how they operate here on life on planet Earth, click subscribe, go ahead and like this video, and keep coming back, and we'll keep going through some more. Alright, so to get started here, we've got Emma Stone. She is an investigating opportunist, so that means that her body is one who likes to investigate, to get down to the root of information, and her personality is also one that likes to be an opportunist. So seeking opportunity, jumping for the chance of opportunity whenever there is one. And which is so funny because, gosh, more and more, so context of everything that I say and do, I am trained as an actor. That's what I went to college for. I went to college to be an actor, and trained in this conservatory style program. And one of the things I've noticed more and more is how many actors, when you look at them in interviews, they say that some of the best roles are the ones where they just felt like they just were able to naturally play them, just be themselves naturally, just play an aspect of themselves. And as I've continued to dive into my awareness of what we observe when we see actors, is so much of the time we see them playing characters that they can kind of tune into in a way naturally. And this is so true for Emma Stone's character as well. Like, literally, the movie that I just watched, oh my god, it's like I'm looking at her human design, and it's a perfect fit for what she just played in this movie. It's like it makes 100% sense that her design would play the characters she played in that movie. So I recommend going and watch the movie just so you can better understand immediately what this thing is, and what it means. So, alright, so anyway, Splenic projector. So, you can see that by the fact that she has a completely open sacral center, which is pretty rare. I don't see that very often. Normally I see at least some type of gate hanging off of it, but there's not. I just see the one. I don't see any. So that means that very, very sensitive to the energy of others, and when she takes in the energy of a generator around her, she is going to amplify it, and it's going to have a significant impact on her, as to all of a sudden like giving her all this energy to get up and go do stuff. But that also means that she likely needs to sleep by herself or with another projector or non-energy type to be able to rest. She has a defined root center, which gives her that defined, consistent adrenalized pressure to get up and move her body. And then that's connected to her splenic center, which guides her in her survival. And so, the splenic center gives you this consistent sense of fear, but not in a you're living around with fear, but you kind of are. But it's more just like it's a guide to keep you alive. It's a healthy fear that keeps you alive. People with a completely undefined splenic center, yeah, they might have no fear, but those people also die doing things that could get you killed more easily. So if we look at her character in that movie, she was making her decisions, even though some of her decisions might have been relatively unpleasing to observe, but they were all based, and she was just trying to watch out for her survival. She even said it, and she says it in the movie, like she's on her team, like she's on Team Me or something like that. She's looking out for herself, looking out for her own survival, and so she's making decisions based out of fear of if she doesn't make the decision the way that she does, based on the information that she has available to her, then she's going to be back on the street. She's going to be, and living in the Queen's Palace is better than living on the streets in 18th century London. So she's just taking care of her survival, and so that's where she's, and we see that in the movie here. We have a completely open emotional center. So what that I mentioned, some of the things that she does are kind of like how could you feel good about them? You can't feel really good about them. The only thing that could happen is if you feel nothing, and this is kind of what happens. Completely open emotional centers here, they only can, emotions, they're things that they experience, they come through us and they pass through us, but they don't guide our life, right? So she has a completely open emotional center, so she's able to experience the emotion of what she's doing and then let it go, because it doesn't define her. She's not defined. She's not running her life by her emotions. She experiences it and then lets it go. She has a completely open heart center, which could translate to a lot of if she's living in her not self, it can translate to a lot of struggle with self-worth, a lot of trying to prove one's worthiness. And so we to take it back to the movie, we see that she's trying to do things all the time to prove that she is worthy of being the favorite of the Queen, and willing to do these things that she doesn't want to do, but she feels a sense that she needs to do them, because if she doesn't, then she's not going to be liked anymore, and then she's going to be kicked out, right? So and she's willing to do what she needs to do because she's got that fear, that pressure to move herself forward, but that fear of taking care of her own survival, and she's got this sense of needing to prove herself and prove that work that she's doing is good, so that she can stay in her opportunity. And even though she doesn't necessarily like it all the time, but she's willing to deal with it and experience the emotion that she experiences in the moment, and then let it go and pass on. And she's willing to use others. And we see her do this all the time. She's willing to use others as she can, because she doesn't have the energy to go and build the thing herself. And so what does she do? She works with the energy of others to be able to kind of, have them do the work for her. And then, oh my God, she didn't do. You even see it in the movie. She didn't do anything herself other than give the Queen an orgasm. That's pretty much the only work. And then talk to the people saying what she wanted them to do. But they're the ones that did it. They're the ones that went and did the things. She just manipulated them. So, and this all makes sense because she's able to do this. She's able to play this character because she has a defined head center. Most people have an undefined head center. So that means that when they come into contact of somebody with a defined head center, she's immediately going to give them pressure to think about something. They're going to be thinking about whatever it is they're thinking about, and then they're going to come into the proximity of somebody with a defined head center, and that defined head center person is going to say something like, "You need to think about this," and that person is immediately going to be like, "Well, maybe you're right." Well, I wasn't thinking about that, but maybe I should be thinking about that, because an undefined head center person isn't going to know what they're supposed to be thinking about. So maybe if a person comes in with assuredness, and it's going to feel different. It's different than somebody with an undefined head center, undefined ajna center, who's saying that you need to think about this, because it's a pretend. It's a more of a false sense of certainty. But if it's defined, it's going to, her aura is going to communicate that to them, and they're going to listen. They can't even help themselves. And so she also has the connecting channel here, which means that she's able to make sense of, like, so formulate a strategy about that's taking her to her desired future, and then that translates to a breakdown of the process of the mental processing of how to bring about the vision that she sees for the future into steps that can be understood. And then this translates to, she has gate 11 of ideas. She also has gate of opinions. But what's interesting here is that she doesn't have any connection there, which again comes to, she needs others in order to bring her ideas to fruition. She can't just do it on her own. But she also has here this connection. What's also kind of unique here, she has a triple split definition, which really means that she really relies on other people a lot. So I'm not going to have time to go into that more in depth, but because I really want to get to this defined G center here. She has a defined G center with almost all of her gates activated, and one of them is connecting her sense of gate 10 with her sense of identity with manifesting herself, which is the throat center, what it's responsible for through gate 20. So I'm going to jump over to here really quick. Here we have, so the only one that she doesn't have is gate 46. So all these gates represent here how she manifests herself, like how she manifests her identity, and what she's going to lead forward within herself. So if she's got gate 7, this is the energy of leadership toward a cause that is greater than the individual. It's a willingness to step up when it's asked of you, not forcing it. So this is also another nickname for this gate, is like the gate of the administrator, the gate of the general. So the gate of being good at leading people, which she does in this movie all the time. She's leading them where she wants them to go, and they're doing it. And they don't really realize that they're doing it, but they are. Self-expression. This is a desire internally to express yourself creatively. It is the desire to make a difference in the world and will push you until you feel pulled to act. You must wait for the right timing to know how to contribute. So self-expression. I don't know how I see this in the movie very much, but other than she's just desire to express herself by being a lady again. She comes in, she has to be a maid. She's willing to work her way up to pull the strings how she can, but be the puppeteer of the people until she gets herself back up to where she can express herself in a more creative fashion. Listener, you have a natural way of disarming people so they feel safe to share their stories with you. Did we not see this? This literally happens in the movie when the queen is, the first time that they meet, really, the queen is willing to share this trauma with her about how she lost 17 kids, and she feels comfortable, right? You have a natural way of disarming people. You're a great listener, and you hold their stories close, sharing only in a way that serves the collective learning. Love of spirit. Number 25. This is the energy of pure love. It is an energy of existing in love, and simply from your existing, you spread it with others. It doesn't need to be acted upon. That's really cool. Wow, holy shit! I wish I had that spirit or that gate. Love of the body. She does not have this one, so let's skip it. But so therefore, what's going to happen is love of the body. So if people don't have that gate, naturally, people who don't have that gate are going to feel, it's going to feel something that they're going to feel wishing to have fulfilled. They're going to look for others to fulfill that within themselves. So maybe she's going to look for people who have that gate active in their chart, and she's going to naturally be gravitated towards them to feel that within herself. It's the gate of embodiment, recognizing that the body is a sacred vessel and needs to be treated as such. People with this gate tend to carry themselves with grace and beauty. Many yogis and dancers have this gate. This is a soul expression through the body. There can be a tendency to strive for physical perfection here. At its highest expression, there is unconditional love and acceptance of the body. So she does not have that. She does not have that, and we see that, we can kind of see that she's willing to put her body through things that she maybe doesn't want to be doing And as an example, Keeper of the Keys 2, this is the opposite gate of gate 1, takes the pushing energy to create and says, okay, let's create a logical plan to implement this creative vision in a way that supports all involved. There can be a tendency to spend resources recklessly, but in its highest expression, it manages resources well. Oh, yes. Holy cow. This is so spot on with what should we see in her movie. Extremes, gate 15. This is a willingness to go to the extremes to find a rhythm or flow in life, which may be constantly changing. There's also a deep connection to humanity here and a willingness to go to extremes for betterment of humanity. And then love of self. 10. This is the energy of recognizing and living your own conditional love and acceptance as a result of your example, influencing and empowering others to do so too. So I spent a lot of time in this video kind of like explaining how her character in the movie was demonstrated in her human design, but so one thing as well to think about so if you look at some of the other charts that we've read, I think all the performers so far have had an undefined G center. She's the first one to have a very defined G center. What this can look like is people with an undefined G center can have a reputation of being more chameleon-like. They come into an environment and they kind of mold with the environment. People with a defined G center, they're more set in their ways. Like they are this manner and they're going to be that manner wherever they go. So we see that in this movie. We see her human design at play in that scenario. Like we see that is something that she would be willing to do. There's nothing bad about any of it. I'm sure any of us, if we were in her scenario, would be making the same decisions that she made. Living like, on the verge of like living out on the streets in 18th century England is like you either become a prostitute or you die. So she was doing the best. Her opportunities are living in the Queen's palace, being the direct servant of the Queen. Becoming, like, she got married to become a lady, and then it doesn't have a particularly happy ending, but it's still nonetheless a very thought-provoking movie. Anyway, so I'm saying all that to say that, like, I want to be sensitive. I'm not saying that Emma Stone is a manipulative person in a negative context. She's just like, this is just her design, and her design that she's like embodying in her body. If you watch that movie, it's kind of a fun way to see it happen. Another way that you could see it happen is in the movie Zombieland. We see Emma Stone. It's the same character. It's the same. That's the difference between a chameleon-like actor and a person who's a defined person. We see Emma Stone, and she's consistent. She's consistently playing herself. We just see Emma Stone coming and playing herself in the roles that she's put in movies. Okay, I'm done. I'm getting off. I'm reeling up. Okay, reeling it in. So anyway, this is her chart. It's fascinating stuff. Like, the more and more I study human design, the more and more fascinated I get with it. If you are interested in learning more about your human design, if this is starting to get interesting to you too, you want to understand how it is that you work and how it is that you carry yourself when you come into a room, and how it is that you make decisions in a more healthy way, definitely hit me up. Send me an email at hiphumandesign@gmail.com, and let's book a session for you, and we'll go over your chart. I'll tell you what it means. I'll tell you how to live better, how to live easier with less resistance, and stop experiencing your not self. So, cool. I'm Charles Clark. Click subscribe, and we'll see you next time.